welcome back. We're being joined now by Dixie Ball, who's with the Hope in the Valley organization.
Yes.
What's it called?
Hope in the Valley Horse Rescue and Equine Rescue and Sanctuary. I often say horse rescue because some people don't know that equine is, horses, donkeys, mules.
Okay.
And we have them all out there right now.
Yes, we do.
And I'm here today to tell everybody about our upcoming events. We have one on this coming Saturday, the 26th, from 10 to 4, and it's the ASPCA Help a Horse Day.
Okay.
And we are just welcoming the public out to we're at 85th and Broadway, just north of 85th Street on Broadway, inviting everybody out to the rescue to join in the fun. We're going to have some, we're going to have our veterinarian out there that's going to talk about horse care. We have several guests. We'll also have someone out there to talk about nutrition from Purina, and we will have the farrier out there that talks about hoof care, and people will be doing demonstrations throughout the day, so we're really excited about that. And we get a chance to win a grant, be awarded a grant from the ASPCA.
Oh, nice.
So
Working hard on that.
yeah, so we're hoping that we will be one of the lucky lucky organizations that gets to.
Well, yeah, because that's no small expense taking care of.
Extremely expensive.
Yeah.
We figured it out. Andy, who is the founder and the president of Hope in the Valley, Andy Armstrong, she and I were discussing it just this week. It costs about $70,000 a year to run it. And that is if we aren't past capacity, and right now we have about 50 horses, and they're very expensive to feed, and then we have hoof care, veterinary care, the list goes on and on. So every time we get a chance to get a grant or monies, donations, because we are a 501c3, so we rely 100% on donations and volunteers. So we are always asking the public to donate, either monetary donations. You can go on our website, Hope in the Valley, equinerescue.org, and you can do a monetary donation or sign up to be a volunteer. We can always use hands-on
crowd that come out and love those horses. Yeah.
Those horses have all been in horrible situations, probably have things happen to them that we couldn't even imagine, and they come to us, and once we get them healthy, we will send them to a trainer, and then we will hopefully get them adopted out to loving homes. But there's so much that comes into play before that, and much of that is the volunteers coming out and just loving on them, brushing them, and getting them used to people again, so they can trust again, because they usually have
the trust factor's really tough. You'd be amazed at how some of those horses have been abused. You can walk up to them, and you think of a normal horse, you walk up and you hold your hands out and they nuzzle you. When this horse pulls back, immediately it's been abused and whatever, and doesn't want to be touched on its face because it's been slapped and banged and whatever and
What's
beat.
the average time that a horse stays there? I mean, how long does it normally How long does it normally take from the time you get it until it is adoptable?
Well, horses are like people. We're also different. And then, of course, depending on the severity of their abuse, they could have injuries they have to overcome. So there's really no set time. We do have horses that come in that are owner relinquishments. And sometimes in that case, the horses are in good health. And have been ridden, but the people just can no longer afford to take care of them, so they relinquish them to the rescue. And those horses usually, once we deem that they are safe, to adopt out, they can turn over pretty quick. But we don't rush anybody because we want to make sure that they're ready to go, and that they'll go to a place that we will are assured that they're going to get good care. And the greatest thing to me about Hope in the Valley is that we never abandon those horses again. Once we adopt them out, the adoptees will sign a contract saying that they will bring the horse back, or we can go get the horse if necessary, if they aren't being cared for properly. And it's just nice because everybody, can run into a situation where you've lost your job or something happens and you can no longer afford to feed your horses. And it's just a reassurance to us that if that happens, they can call us and we will go get the horse, or they can bring it back, no questions asked. So
Also holds them a little bit accountable.
yes. And we do go by and do visits. A lot of times we go by, just drive by and make sure the horses look okay. Or we will stop in if maybe someone, we have heard that maybe, the horses aren't looking too good, or maybe there's an issue. We will go and check up on them and make sure they're taken care of properly.
Well, we'll be back in a couple of minutes, and Dixie's going to stick around, and we've got some more questions for her. So we'll be right back. Welcome back. We were just talking to Dixie about, the difference between trying to adopt a horse out to a family as opposed to a dog or a cat. There's a whole different, it's a whole different ball game. And so it's probably not as, you don't adopt as many horses out as you would.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Because, of course, even if you have an apartment, you can be equipped for a dog or a cat.
Sure.
But if you want to adopt a horse, you have to have some acreage and shelter, a reasonably sized shelter, a source of water, and be ready to spend a lot of money on food, because horses aren't cheap to feed, especially if we are in a drought season. The hay, it can be anywhere from $75 to $125 for a round bale. I have 4 horses personally, one that I adopted from the rescue, and they go through a round bale in 1 week. So when the drought was bad, I was spending $100 a week to feed the 4 horses. So people have to be prepared for that, because we can't always guarantee that we're going to have a good crop of hay.
Right.
And then if you are adopting a senior horse, they cannot digest their hay the way that a young horse can. So they have to be fed grain, or we call it senior feed, and it has the nutrients that an older horse needs. But their teeth are ground down to almost nothing, so they can't really chew the hay. So the grain kind of dissolves in their mouth, and they get the nutrients they need. But it takes a while for them to eat too, because they're old, and they have to learn a whole new way of eating. They'll still try to eat the hay. It's really
cute. It's really funny to watch them. They mull it around and spit it out and pick it up and mull it around, and they know it should be eating it, and they can't decide what to do with it. And it's natural for them to graze, and so they still try, and they need to be able to do that, because they do get some nutrients, just not what they should. We have a lot of senior horses at our rescue right now, and for many of them, it's their sanctuary, so they will always be there with us. They'll have like health concerns, or maybe they're just so old that we just don't feel comfortable sending them on to another home. The stress itself could be bad for them, so we just let them stay there. They'll be there for the rest of their lives. So our then feed bill gets even more expensive, because we have all that grain. And I think a horse goes through about 150 pounds of grain a week, and it's about $20 for a 50-pound bag.
Wow.
So that's $60 a week for one horse. So
You just think that Dixie was talking about her 4 horses eating a 2,000-pound bale in a week. You have 50 horses. Do you know how many round bales of hay we go through a day? They're everywhere.
We go around about 400 a year, 400 round bales.
Wow.
So, and we have seniors out there right now. It's amazing how we come upon horses. We have in one senior pen, we have 3 horses. 2 are blind, and 1 is a retired racehorse. And she's about 27, and the other 2 are in their 30s. And they're the 2 blind ones. The mare has become those gelding CNI horse.
Oh, really?
And my sister and I were out there a couple of weeks ago helping out, and we just sat there in that pen with them and watched. And we watched Dolly, is her name, the retired racehorse, and then it's Tip and Studley. And Tip and Studley will just flank her, and she will take them to, it was feeding time, and we put their grain in the shelter. She took them up to the shelter, and she let them go into their stalls, and she went into her own. And she finished first because she's younger, but she waited there until they finished, and it took them an hour. And then she led them over to the water, and then she led them back to the hay. It was the sweetest thing. You know, and my sister and I said, oh, isn't that typical? You know, the woman, the woman has to lead the man.
Lead the man over to where they eat.
Yeah.
It kind of works that way sometimes, doesn't it?
Showing them what to do. You know, we still like to tell them what to do. And when we're old gray mares, like,
and we like it when they follow directions.
That's right, exactly. But yeah, it's just she's just so sweet and so kind, and she was not taught that. She just instinctively knew that they were blind and that they needed help, and they know that she will take them. You know, and she also, one thing we noticed, we have. You know, hot wire, we call it, or electric fence around these pens. And Studley was just walking along, and he was getting too close to that fence, and she whipped right around and led him away. So, and you know, we have to have that because we don't want them to get injured.
Sure.
We don't want the horses to get out and get injured. We don't want animals that aren't supposed to get in. So it's a necessary evil, but it's just amazing that she knows to do that. And it just shows you how loving and wonderful those animals are.
It's worth coming out Saturday to watch that phenomenon, if nothing else.
And it's this Saturday, the 26th.
This Saturday from 10 to 4.
And is there a charge?
No, it's free to get in, and all day long we're going to have demonstrations, and we're going to have some hot dogs and chips and drinks. So.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I always love talking about the rescue.